the hidden truth of what we forget to clean. My dear elder, imagine for a moment that you are standing before a mirror. You see your face, your hair, your hands. You wash them every day. You brush your teeth. You bathe. You perhaps even apply soap or lotion. You believe you are clean, protected, safe. But what if I told you that the very things you think are enough may still be leaving you vulnerable? What if the most dangerous infections, the most silent weaknesses, do not come from what you can see, but from what you forget? This is not a matter of vanity. This is a matter of life and death, of clarity and confusion, of longevity or decline. Welcome to Buddha Story. Today I want to take you on a journey into the unseen, into the forgotten corners of both body and spirit. Because in Buddhist wisdom, neglect of the smallest seed leads to the suffering of the greatest tree. A body that is only half cared for is like a temple that is only half cleaned. At first it seems fine, but dust gathers, darkness spreads, and eventually decay begins. When I studied the words of the Blessed One, I realized something most people overlook. He often spoke not only of the grand path, but of the smallest details. He told his disciples to care for their robes, to sweep the halls, to light even the tiniest lamp. Why? Because neglect of the smallest becomes poison to the whole. Just as a corner of the temple left unclean eventually spoils the fragrance of the altar, so too the hidden parts of the body, left unattended, invite weakness into the whole being. Think about this. You may wash your face, your arms, your legs. You may even wash your hair every day. But do you remember to wash your tongue, the place where words are born, where bacteria collect unseen? Do you remember your feet, the foundation of your freedom, the part of you that has carried you through 7, 8, 9 decades of life? Do you remember your underarms, the house of your lymph nodes, where your body releases its poisons? Or your nose, the gate of breath, the bridge between body and spirit? These are not minor details. They are silent guardians of your life. To neglect them is to slowly open the door to illness, to weakness, and to the slow fading of the light within you. There is a story I remember of an old practitioner named Samuel. He had devoted his life to meditation. He prayed every morning. He recited sutras every evening, and yet he was always tired. His breath was shallow, his energy low, his mind often clouded. He thought it was simply old age, an unavoidable decline. But one day a young novice observed him and said, "Teacher, you cleanse your mind, but not your tongue. You cleanse your thoughts, but not your feet." At first he laughed, dismissing it as childish. But he tried. He began to scrape his tongue, wash his feet, cleanse the folds of his body. Weeks later, something astonishing happened. His energy returned, his breath deepened, his clarity sharpened. He said, "I realized the Buddha was right all along. Enlightenment is not just in the mind, it is in the care of the smallest things." This is why I ask you today, with all sincerity, are you truly clean? Not just on the outside, but in the hidden places where neglect slowly eats away at life? The tongue, the feet, the folds of skin, behind the ears, the belly button, the underarms, the nose. These are the lamps we forget to light. And when we forget them, darkness grows. The Buddha once told his attendant Ananda when he forgot to light the meditation hall, "Darkness grows not because the sun has set, but because one small lamp was not lit." Reflect on that. Darkness in your life does not come only from age, from fate, from external events. It comes from the lamps you forget to light in your own care, your own awareness. So, my dear elder, this message is not simply about hygiene. It is about awakening. Every act of washing, every act of cleansing is a moment of mindfulness. When you clean your tongue, you are also cleansing your speech, making it truthful and kind. When you wash your feet, you are honoring your journey, remembering the ground you have walked. When you cleanse your underarms, you are symbolically releasing your poisons, your hidden burdens. When you clear your nose, you are clearing your breath, the bridge to mindfulness. When you wash your belly button, you remember your origin, the gift of life given to you. When you wipe behind your ears, you open the way to listen again. When you dry the folds of your skin, you are also drying the hidden folds of resentment and regret inside your heart. This is the Dharma of hidden care. It is a reminder that nothing is too small for awareness. Nothing is too unimportant for compassion. If you learn to care for the corners of your body, you will also learn to care for the corners of your mind. So I invite you now to stay with me until the end of this teaching, because what I am about to share may not only surprise you, it may add not only years to your life, but life to your years. And before we continue, I kindly ask you, if you find value in this, to subscribe to Buddha Story. Your support gives us the strength to continue bringing these teachings to those who need them most. Now, I want to leave you with a small question, a reflection, something to write in the comments below. It is not a question of fact, but of awakening. Which do you believe leads to deeper suffering in old age? A. Neglecting the hidden corners of the body, such as the tongue, the feet, and the folds of skin. B. Neglecting the hidden corners of the mind, such as anger, regret, and unspoken grief. There is no right or wrong here. Only your reflection matters. Write A or B in the comments, and let us begin this journey together. The 7 hidden places of care. When we speak of the hidden places of the body, we are not merely speaking of surfaces of skin or organs of flesh. We are speaking of symbols, of truths about life that echo through every wrinkle, every fold, every forgotten corner. To wash these places is to remember that awareness must reach everywhere, even where the eyes do not normally look. Take the tongue. For most people, it is invisible, an afterthought. Yet it carries more bacteria than any other part of the mouth. Some of those organisms can slip into the blood, damage the heart, disturb the entire system. But the tongue is not only physical, it is the place of speech. Words can heal, words can harm. A neglected tongue becomes a neglected truth. I remember a story of an elder named Jonathan who rarely cleaned his tongue. He lived with constant bitterness, always sharp in speech, always cutting others down. When he began the small act of cleansing this forgotten place, he told me he became conscious of his words too. I realized that my mouth had been dirty for years, not just with bacteria, but with anger, he said. This is the lesson. When you cleanse the tongue, you also cleanse the words that shape your destiny. The feet, too, are often ignored. They carry you through thousands of miles, through decades of life, yet many do not even bend down to wash them properly. In Buddhist tradition, to bow at the feet of a teacher or parent is to honor the path that carried them. Feet are foundations. I recall a woman named Eleanor who could barely walk in her 80s. Doctors told her it was old age, but her problem was simple neglect. Her feet were cracked, infected, swollen. She began to wash them daily, dry them carefully, massage them with oil. Slowly, her balance improved, her steps became lighter, and she returned to walking meditation in the garden she loved. To care for the feet is to reclaim freedom, to remember that every step is a prayer. The underarms are rarely thought of except as a place to hide odor with fragrance. But under the skin lies the lymphatic system, the rivers that carry waste out of the body. If clogged, the body becomes heavy, slow, vulnerable. Spiritually, this is like the poisons of the heart. If we hold on to anger, fear, jealousy, they fester in the shadows. Washing the underarms is a symbolic reminder. Let the poisons flow out. Let them not stay trapped within you. A man named Charles once told me that as he grew older, he always felt tired, as if burdened by invisible weight. His doctor found infections under his arms. But more than that, he realized he carried years of unspoken resentment. When he began to clean his underarms carefully, and also began to forgive, his body and spirit both became lighter. The nose, our gateway to breath, is almost never considered in daily cleaning, and yet we breathe 20,000 times each day. If the nose is clogged, the brain receives less oxygen, sleep deteriorates, the mind grows dull. In meditation practice, breath is everything. Without a clear nose, awareness cannot settle. A story is told of an old practitioner named Margaret who often dozed off during meditation. She believed she was simply too old to stay awake. But when she learned to cleanse her nostrils gently each morning and night, her mind grew sharp again, her memory clear. She said with joy, "I thought I was losing my mind, but it was only my breath that had been trapped." The belly button, a small hollow, often ridiculed or ignored, is a sacred place. It is the scar of birth, the first gate through which life entered. To neglect it is to neglect gratitude for existence itself. Dirt, sweat, and oil gather there, and infections arise silently. But when you clean it with care, you are bowing to the memory of the womb, to the miracle of life. An elder named Thomas once confessed that he had never once in his 80 years washed his navel. When he began to do so, he said he felt strangely renewed, as if reconnecting to the source of life itself. Behind the ears lies another hidden corner. Few think to clean it, yet sweat and oil collect there, bringing odor and irritation. But more than that, the ears are symbols of listening. How often do we complain that no one listens to us, while we ourselves do not listen deeply? An old story is told of a disciple who asked his master why his meditations never bore fruit. The master touched his ears and said, "You hear words, but you do not listen with your life." To clean behind the ears is a daily reminder. Clear away what blocks you from hearing truth, from hearing the voices of those you love. Finally, under the breasts or within the folds of skin, moisture gathers. Age brings softness, sagging, and hidden places where fungus thrives. If left unwashed, they lead to rashes, infection, discomfort. But they are also metaphors. In every life there are folds, hidden regrets, concealed wounds. If you leave them untouched, they grow moldy in the dark. A woman named Grace once told me she lived with constant shame because of rashes under her breasts. When she began to wash and dry these folds with tenderness, her body healed. She told me, "I realized I had been hiding parts of myself in darkness for years, not just my skin. When I brought them to light, they began to heal." These 7 hidden places are more than hygiene. They are daily Dharma lessons. Each one teaches awareness of what is ignored, compassion for what is unseen, gratitude for what is small. By cleansing them, you protect your health, yes, but more than that, you awaken. You begin to see that nothing in life is too small for attention. Nothing is too unimportant for love. This is the path of mindfulness, not just in meditation halls, but in the bathroom, in the bedroom, in the smallest acts of care. Remember, longevity is not only about the number of years you live, but about the clarity and vitality within those years. Clean the hidden, honor the forgotten, and discover that every act of washing can be a step toward freedom.